Hello, this is Diana. This is my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel. On my channel, I'm blending a mix of spirituality, self-improvement, and holistic healing to inspire you to become your best self. If that sounds good to you, make sure to hit those like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons. Today's video is going to be something a little different. I tried a 30-day parasite cleanse and heavy metal cleanse, and this is what happened. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience with that. First, I'm going to start off with just a little bit of information about the product that I tried. And this is not a product review or anything. This is just my experience with this cleanse. And this is just the product that I chose. My dietary restrictions, my overall experiences with this, challenges and benefits, and some tips for anyone that wants to try this. So the parasite cleanse I did was Rogers Hood Apothecary. What inspired me to do this cleanse? I'm very into wellness and I was trying to improve my health, and I realized that living in America, a lot of the foods that we have here, I think needless to say, are not that great. I've been hearing about parasite cleanses and heavy metal detoxes for a while now, and I wanted to try it. Now this one was for 30 days and it was a lot more restrictive than I thought it would be. It was a very eye-opening experience, which I'll talk about more in this video. And just a little background on my diet. You know, I'm not vegan or anything. I have been making efforts to eat healthier, and I do notice I feel better when I eat healthier, but this was definitely more extreme than what I was used to. But it had a good turnout. So the product comes with 3 glass bottles that are tinctures, and then a little jar that has the supplements in them, the pills that you take. So one of the drop bottles is for the parasite cleanse. I had to take that 3 times a day, every day. Then there was a heavy metal cleanse tincture bottle. I had to take those drops 3 times a day as well. Then there was a sustain bottle. That's just another bottle that supplements these 2 other products. And I had to take those 2 times a day. Then there's a Cinnabon, which is a binder. You can look up what a binder is. I took one of those before I went to bed at night. Now, the things with these are all these drops, you're not supposed to eat an hour before you take them or a half hour after you take them. And even the pill that you take at night, you're not supposed to take any medications within a certain time period after. So that's just something to note as well. So this really put my meals on more of a schedule, and especially because I have a job and everything too. But the biggest thing about these aren't the actual product itself. It's the food restrictions. To be honest, I didn't do as much research as I should have done before. I wasn't thinking of how extreme that would be. Things that I couldn't eat, couldn't do any grains, pretty much cutting out carbs. I couldn't eat rice, pasta, bread, potatoes, but I was able to have quinoa and chickpea pasta. I was able to do lentils as well. Also, I wasn't able to have dairy. You can't have alcohol. You can't have processed foods. You can't have corn. Can't have any refined sugars. You can't have anything with tomato in it. No seafood. Now, meat, it did say that technically shouldn't have meat, but if you're a person that feels like they need that, which I do, honestly, I think that would have been a little too restrictive if I couldn't do any meat. So it did say it, but if you must do meat, do grass-fed beef, turkey, and chicken. So I ate those. I definitely did more chicken and grass-fed beef. Turkey, not so much. They said it's okay if you drink a little coffee, but don't drink a whole pot. So I took that as, okay, maybe 1 cup is okay. So I was just having 1 cup. I do either superfood or mushroom coffee anyway. And I also wasn't able to eat any condiments either. No ranch, no barbecue sauce, no ketchup, anything like that. I could do honey mustard, and for salad dressings, I was also pretty limited as well. I could do like apple cider vinegar dressings. Like I was able to do honey mustard dressing, or like a vinaigrette was okay, but that also made it a little difficult. So all these were restrictions I had for 30 days, and I actually did the full 30 days. I had to get a little creative. I did more things with like chickpeas, and I actually did like the chickpea pasta. I thought it was pretty good actually. I couldn't have chocolate either. I really do like chocolate. Usually I was eating like dark chocolate. That was difficult. Before I go into like my experiences and my thoughts on all this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the symptoms I experienced during these 4 weeks. So week 1, I was definitely going through ketosis because I wasn't able to have the carbs that I was eating before. I was reducing my carbs already, but this is just a lot more restrictive. So week 1, I did feel a little bit of a headache and lightheaded. I definitely could feel like my body was detoxing and purging, and with the ingredients that they put in these tinctures, it did feel really good. Like when I would put the drops in, I would usually mix it with water. It did actually feel good in my body to have those go through, not to be gross or anything. I definitely noticed that my stool looked healthier as well, but I did have moments where I felt lightheaded, even like dizzy. I had a little bit of mood swings. I think it's really just that we become addicted to the chemicals that are put in our foods, you know? And just your body's used to having these things, and you take it away, right? So there is a detox period. I would say more of a gentle detox. It didn't feel like a hard, but you know, I think the first week was the hardest because I had to adjust more. The second week, I still had a little bit of mood swings. I had times where I felt really tired and almost like depressed a little bit. But you know, there's also things going on in my life that, you know, could cause mood swings, or, you know, stressors that maybe could cause that as well. So I'm not saying it's all because of this, but definitely something to be aware of. You know, I have some days where I felt really like tired and lethargic, and some days where I felt really energetic. Week 3, I became more used to it for sure. And I was still experiencing some of the physical symptoms I listed for week 1 and 2. I got used to the patterns of eating and what I should and shouldn't eat. And the good thing about this is that I wasn't eating late at night either, ever, because of the time you have to take that binder. And week 4, I was kind of just like, let this be over already, week 4. I had some days where I was a little more irritable, but I knew it was ending soon. I did feel overall better. So at the end of this 30 days, I lost 8 pounds. So I've been going back and forth with the weight. Even when I would eat healthy and go to the gym, I was just going up and down a couple pounds. You know, 8 pounds is significant for me. And what does that mean? Does that mean that I had a parasite and got rid of it, maybe? Or is it just because I'm eating healthier in general, so I'm losing weight? I never had any actual symptoms of a parasite or anything my whole life when I've been eating different kinds of meat, seafood, different things in general that could have parasites. You know, there are heavy metals in a lot of things, so it's really hard to pinpoint which it was exactly. But I will just say overall I felt healthier, lighter, definitely had less brain fog. I didn't have that bloated feeling after I eat like I often would. And it felt good to actually feel good. It almost felt like weird to me. It's like new. It's like, oh, I could actually feel good and still enjoy my food. Some of the challenges that I had during that, I think it was really tough and eye-opening when I went to different restaurants and I couldn't have most of the food there. Almost everything had like an ingredient that I was not able to have. My boyfriend and I live together, and there are times that he's bringing home pizza, which I really like, or he would bring home certain things like burgers, like I couldn't eat like any of it. And he would have his friends over sometimes. It was like I couldn't partake in that. It was tough when I went to my job. You know, we have some days we have catered lunches, or people bring in food to share, like snacks and sweets and things like that. One snack that I was able to eat were like different kinds of nuts, like pistachios, cashews, almonds. So I was eating more of that. Definitely a lot of salads, chicken dishes. Like I would do chicken with like chickpea pasta, chicken with quinoa, cut up different vegetables, you know, with obviously peppers, onions. I would spice something up, try to make it taste as good as I can, but I couldn't do a lot of sauces, and that's what made it difficult. I like to dip things in sauces. I like different dressings, and I wasn't able to do that. And the dairy was definitely tough. I was doing less dairy. Like I was doing almond milk already, but I would still have milk sometimes. And cheese, I do like cheese, and that was difficult. I couldn't have that. The carbs definitely were a thing, and the chocolate. And tomato, there's tomato in a lot of things. I even had certain things I would get from the store, and then I found out I had tomato in it or something, I couldn't have it. It was very interesting to see people's reactions. There's a lot of people that aren't into wellness like that, like I am. So I can imagine it's probably like, oh my god, why would you do that? You're gonna like starve yourself. But you know, I like challenges, and I'm into different wellness and healing practices, so this was something that I felt called to do, so I did it. It was very difficult going to stores because I live out more in the country now, so our main stores, we do have farmers markets out here, but we have like Costco, Martin's, Walmart, Aldi's. Like it would be cool if I had a Whole Foods out here or an organic store or something. I don't have those, you know. Me going into Walmart, going into Costco, going into Martin's, like I was still very selective on what I could eat. I was even at Walmart one day, and I went down like every aisle, and I'm like, I can't eat most of the stuff here. It was pretty crazy. I'm looking for the organic stuff. I did have to spend a little bit more money, definitely, during this cleanse. I was very limited on what I could eat, and I had to look at the ingredients of like everything, and there were things I thought were good, and then the ingredients had something I couldn't have. So it was very eye-opening when you go to a grocery store and you can have majority of the things in there. It's crazy. So there were a lot of temptations. There were times where I was craving certain foods I wasn't able to have, and it was very difficult. I had to be very disciplined. It actually really did show me how habitual eating was. I noticed I was often eating because I was stressed out, because I'm emotional, or just for pleasure, right? And I'm just seeing that I can eat more for sustenance. It doesn't have to be like for those things. Because then if you're always stressed out, always emotional, bored, whatever triggers you to want to eat, or just for pleasure, right? Then that's how addictions can form. And when they have these highly addictive chemicals that are in these foods, it's no wonder why people in our society have trouble eating healthier. And it goes against like our programming, you know? You might have started off as you were a kid, like eating some of these unhealthy things, like eating fast food all the time or eating processed foods, you know? It was so programmed to eat all these things, and even look at what they serve at like school lunches and everything. So like, it's really difficult when you've ate a certain way your whole life, and then now you're making all these healthy changes. It's very eye-opening. So there also is long-term benefits to this. When I'm recording this video now, it's about a month after I took that cleanse. I'm not saying I'm as restrictive as that cleanse, I'm definitely not, but I did take all that into consideration, and I am eating more of those foods that were on the list of foods I could eat, and I'm doing a lot less of even some of the things that I liked more of that I wasn't supposed to eat on that list. So I'm even pasta and rices and things like that. I'm doing like maybe something healthier like brown rice, or I still do like chickpea pasta. If I do pasta, I'm trying to do more organic pasta. And even the breads, I'm trying to make healthier bread choices as well, or just limiting the amount. And even with dairy products, I'm limiting my dairy products now. Trying barely to eat any processed food, which I've been doing pretty good at, but you know, there are some times where I do. And I still eat tomato, but I'm doing less of that because I can feel the difference without eating tomato and eating tomato. The acidity on your stomach, it's definitely very noticeable. I do more like fresh sliced tomatoes with like sandwiches, things like that, or salads, but I'm doing a little bit less on like sauces and just even condiments in general. I'm trying to pick healthier condiments, which there aren't a lot of. Seafood, since you can get parasites from a lot of seafood, I do like sushi, so I'm having trouble with that one, but I'm trying to do less seafood, less sushi, and I'm trying not to do any pork. I still do chicken, and I do grass-fed beef as well, but I'm still eating steaks and things like that. I'm eating less acidic food. I'm doing less coffee as well, more fruits and vegetables. So now I'm going to talk about the benefits of the Parasite cleanse and heavy metal cleanse. And this is also inclusive of being like a month out of this cleanse. So surprisingly, my weight was actually still 8 pounds down like a month after I did this. But that's definitely something to note, and that has been working out well for me. And just doing less of those foods in general that were on the do not eat list, just like a significant amount less. I have noticed that I'm not as hungry as I was before, because for 30 days I really had to discipline myself. I couldn't eat at certain times, and I had to eat within certain windows, and just had restrictions in general. It did teach me to have more discipline, and I'm being aware of my body and being aware of, am I really hungry right now? Or am I just bored? Am I just stressed out? Am I just emotional? Is it just like a pleasure thing? It's just like a habitual thing, right? So now I am able to stop more and think before I grab food. And also being mindful of the food I'm putting into my body. One thing I did notice is I feel like I'm paying more attention to the vibrations of food now, which I already was doing before, but now it's been very clear to me after I went on this cleanse. Like, I have certain foods that I ate after this that almost made me feel sick because I hadn't eaten like that in 30 days. And those were foods that were like restricted. I kind of also did an experiment to see, okay, what if I just eat something really bad for you? How do I feel after? Like, I just wanted to see like the contrast. I did feel sick. I basically felt like my body was like, what are you doing? We just did this healthy like cleanse for 30 days, and now why are you putting this back in my body? It like rejected it. And it made me feel like I had bloating, cramps, almost like nauseated. And just not good. Like, it just made my vibration go lower. It felt really dense. And I didn't like feeling like that. So I am being more mindful of the foods I'm putting in my body more than I was before. I would say overall, I definitely felt less brain fog after being on this Parasite cleanse and heavy metal cleanse. I feel lighter. Not as much bloating. I'm only feeling bloating, like that super full feeling and like the lethargic feeling when I eat large portion sizes of certain things, or I'm eating more foods on that do not eat list. It's very like clear the difference how you feel. And of course difference in the stool too when I eat certain foods now. I feel like I have more clarity and inspiration after doing this cleanse, even of the direction I want my life to go in and things like that. So I also had a spiritual experience as well on this. And the spiritual experience is also like, I feel like almost like I was like Jesus in the desert for 40 days, fasting, right? And the devil comes with the temptations, you know? So I did kind of feel like that when people were coming up to me, offering me foods I couldn't eat, like whether it was at my work, at social event, even in my personal life, with my boyfriend, things like that, where we're going to eat different places, and then there's certain things I can't eat. It's like, then there's a temptation, like, oh, it would be so good just this one time, but no, I wanted to stay on the cleanse. I'm noticing what foods are making me feel bloated, which foods are making me gain weight, and just feel lethargic. So it's definitely a lot of awareness, and it really just opened up my eyes to seeing how toxic a lot of our food is, whether it's at the grocery store or at restaurants. You know, how many items I wasn't able to eat. Almost every item, most menus of most places have one menu item that I was actually able to eat, or two or something, or it's something very light like vegetables or a salad with barely any toppings or dressings, you know? And just seeing people's reactions, I think, was just saying like, you know, I'm doing something healthy for myself. It's like, why are you so triggered by that? I understand the psychology of why someone would be triggered by that, but, you know, it's just something to think about. So my advice to people that are doing a cleanse, you know, not every cleanse is 30 days. The one I did was 30 days. You know, make sure you look up the ingredients. Make sure you see what the diet restrictions are. I like quickly looked over that before I did it. I didn't maybe think it through, like how difficult that was going to be. You want to be prepared. You want to make sure you're going grocery shopping ahead of time. You want to make sure you have a backup plan when you're at events or restaurants or wherever you're at that doesn't have much food you can have something you could bring. You know, I brought these nut bars. I was always eating those as like snacks, things like that. My boyfriend made a joke. He's like, what can I get you from the menu? He was like, kale. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much all I can have from here. It's just pretty funny. So this could put a little bit of a dent on your wallet financially. Even at Walmart, they have some organic food there. Even Costco does. Farmer's Market obviously is good. And even Martin's. You just have to be mindful and just do your research before the time. See what you're able to eat, what you're not able to eat, if that works with you. Definitely stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water during this because it help flush out your system. I was drinking a lot of alkaline water, which I already drink alkaline water, but I think that helped flush out my system a lot. Give yourself time to integrate back into society and normal eating after. You know, if you just were super restricted on a diet and you eat something that's really bad for you, or like, oh, I've been craving pizza this whole time, you might actually feel sick if it was something that you weren't able to eat. So if you're going to eat something that, you know, was on that do not eat list and, you know, you're not really trying to make any changes to your diet after, your body might have a reaction to it. So, you know, do maybe smaller portions of something, or just be mindful, just eat a little bit, see how you feel. You know, a lot of this is just tapping into your body and doing what feels right to your body. You know, now I do more intuitive eating, but with keeping all of these restrictions that I went through the cleanse in mind, but I'm still kind of making it like my own. So eating healthier, I make it some healthy changes, and some areas I'm able to compromise, some I'm not. You know, you have to do what's best for you, do what feels right for your body. This was very extreme. There are other cleanses that aren't 30 days. I don't know what their program is like, but, you know, just do your research. I would give this a good review overall. The product was good. I felt really good. It was just very extreme on the diet restrictions and when you have to take it and everything. So just make sure you prepare for that. Like, I brought these little plastic container bottles to work. So when I was going to work, I would set my alarm, you know, for 3 times a day when I have to take those drops. It does require some structure and pre-planning, scheduling, you know, getting specific groceries, looking at that list, you know, making sure you can financially afford whatever's on that list. And I also say, you know, if you're someone that's used to eating more, you know, you can kind of trick your brain by eating more of the healthy stuff. So overall, I would recommend a parasite cleanse and heavy metal cleanse. I think it's really good to flush out your system of all the toxins you've been eating all your life. Especially if you've never taken one before, you know, I think it's a really good thing to do. Just make sure you're prepared, like I mentioned. Overall, I felt a lot better after. It definitely was life-changing. Just being aware in general of what foods do what to your body, make you feel a certain way. And then just seeing the contrast, you know, really was eye-opening for me. and then see how I feel when I do eat a bunch of those do not eat food. It's like night and day. You know, how you feel. That also affects your mindset. As above, so below. And you become what you eat, right? So just being mindful of these things and making changes as needed. Hell, your health is wealth. So I'm gonna recommend this cleanse for anybody. It's 30 days is extreme if you're able to do it, but I think it's really worth it at the end. But I think it can be life-changing when you can change your health. Everything else changes, you know? And then if you're eating better, you're thinking better, you're feeling better, then you're acting better. So everything improves. A lot of us are poisoning ourselves with food every day, and some of us aren't even aware of it. So it's a big wake-up call. I think it's really good to implement a lot of what was on that cleanse, you know, to stay away from those foods more. If you can't cut it out completely, I understand, but making healthier alternative choices as well. You know, I definitely will say I feel a lot healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, I guess even spiritually as well from doing this cleanse. And if you end up doing a parasite cleanse or a heavy metal cleanse, write in the comments below what your experience is, or if you've done one before, I would love to hear your experiences as well. That's all I have for today. If you like this content, hit those like and subscribe buttons. I also have a Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, and 2 podcasts. The links are in this video description. I also offer coaching. So if you need intuitive guidance to motivate you on your healing, self-improvement, and or spiritual journeys, my contact information is in this video description. Have a good day. Namaste.